by the pandemic. Across our campus, many have stepped up to make our buses safe, our classrooms clean and well ventilated, and our students, faculty, and staff and patients healthier. I'd like to take this moment to applaud the thousands of members of the U of M community who've helped our society and campus during this pandemic. From the professionals on the front lines to those working behind the scenes. The instructors who adapted their courses, and our students who persevered, helped others, and inspired us through their support and their service. The donors whose generosity helped us address critical issues, and our community partners who collaborated with us to make our region, state, and world better. Thank you all. Let's give all those workers a round of applause. This semester, we've also applied the considerable knowledge we've gained on the public health front, and what we've seen is very encouraging. More than 95% of our students, 95% of our faculty, and 82% of our staff are vaccinated, and there's been outstanding compliance with our indoor face covering policy. As a result, our campus is fully populated, we're teaching and learning in person, and we're enjoying a more traditional Michigan experience. We've had about 407 cases of COVID-19 in our students since August 21st, and 160 in our faculty and staff. And remember, we have 50,000 students on this campus and tens of thousands of staff. Cases peaked after the initial repopulation of the campus and have drifted downward ever since. Importantly, contact tracing has yet to detect transmission due to classroom contacts. This is the same as last year and very reassuring. Vaccination and masking have mitigated the potential impact of increased class density on disease transmission. Our classroom ventilation systems also meet or exceed CDC classroom ventilation guidelines. In distinction from last academic year, we're not seeing clusters of COVID-19 cases in residence halls or in off-campus group housing, with the exception of a single 15-case cluster in one off-campus house. Our university health service has been very busy treating students, but most who come in with symptoms have colds and other mild viral illnesses. The data from these UHS visits is trending very well. During that initial week of class, 10% of those presenting to UHS with symptoms tested positive for COVID-19. Over the subsequent 2 weeks, that percentage dropped to just under 5%. And through the first 2 days of this week, it was down to 2.5%. And their symptoms are all very mild. Additionally, our wastewater surveillance system that monitors effluent on and near campus has shown findings that correlate very closely with the identified case counts. The system showed an initial increase followed by a progressive decline. This is an important layer in our work, and it indicates that we've not missed significant numbers of cases, even though we're not requiring asymptomatic testing in vaccinated individuals. UHS is seeing runny noses and sore throats in COVID-19 patients, but far fewer with fever or more severe coughs or chest symptoms. We attribute all of this to our very high levels of vaccination, providing significant protection against infection and creating low rates of transmission to other vaccinated persons. Public health measures are working at the University of Michigan, and I want to thank everyone for their shared commitment to our collective health. On a personal note, I've very much enjoyed being back on a vibrant and full campus. I've had the opportunity to stop by during move-in, present a President's Award to Rackham Assistant Dean John Godfrey, introduce our Tanner lecturer Kwame Anthony Appiah, and along with Regent Acker, help to dedicate Mary Sue Coleman Hall. I also thank the 800 students and family members who stopped by my backyard for ice cream and to visit with Vice President Harmon and me during move-in. You may remember that it was hot and humid during move-in, and the crowd was twice as large as we expected. But supply chain issues are no match for our amazing events team, and we had plenty of ice cream for everyone, so thank you. I want to turn things over for a moment to Regent Acker.
Thank you. Thank you, President Schlissel. Fall is traditionally the time when the board evaluates the university president and reports publicly to the community. That will occur this year in October. I've been on campus, as you noted, for a number of events this year, most notably the dedication of the building honoring former President Coleman. I've seen the level of activity and the resumption of our classes, and something that we haven't seen on our campus in a long time, and that is joy. It makes me proud as a regent to see our university back in action, and we have strong measures in place to protect health and safety. We are poised as a university to meet the challenges before us and be responsive to community and the people of our state. And I'd like to just take a moment to thank Governor Whitmer for the increase for the first time in a long time in the higher ed budget, especially here at the University of Michigan. The board thanks President Schlissel for his work on issues affecting our university and those we serve. He will receive a 3% raise. Thank you to everyone in this community who is focused on making U of M a better place.
Thank you. We're joined today by our incoming Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, Jeffrey Chattis, who's here with his wife, Katie. Jeff, will you please stand? Katie as well. Welcome. Jeff is an Ann Arbor native with significant higher ed and private sector experience. His most recent role was at Georgetown University, where he was Senior Vice President and CFO. He'll begin next month, so welcome back to Michigan, Jeff. I want to especially thank Interim Executive Vice President and CFO Brian Smith for stepping up to lead during a very challenging time for our university. Brian helped to position our campus for success amid the challenges of a global pandemic, and his strong leadership has ensured a smooth transition in business and finance. So thank you very much, Brian. Regent Bernstein.
Brian, I just want to very briefly say, I had the opportunity to work closely with you in my role as the chair of at the time of the committee that worked most closely with you, and it was a real pleasure and privilege to work with you. You were thoughtful, smart, engaged, and very creative, and I really appreciate it. We all do. Thank you.
Today, we're announcing the next step in our work to transform how the university approaches the prevention, identification, and response to sexual and gender-based misconduct. The Regents leadership team and I remain sharply focused on continually improving the ways in which we prevent prohibited contact, support survivors in our community, and promptly investigate reports of misconduct. We finalized our policy and procedures for addressing sexual and gender-based misconduct that apply to all U of M students, faculty, staff, and third parties, building on the interim policy we had in place as we sought additional community input, expert and governmental input as well. This policy reflects important feedback from our entire community, including students, faculty, and staff and alumni, and it goes into effect October the 1st. We heard from you that elements of our former policy were adding to the distrust and confusion felt by many. We want everyone to know where they can turn for support, that there is a clear process in place for what happens when a report is made, and that all reports will be taken seriously, and that all members of our community who make a report of misconduct will be protected from retaliation. The new policy includes common definitions for prohibited conduct, separate procedures for addressing allegations against students and those against employees and third parties, and further clarifies available confidential resources and ways to report misconduct. Key changes include the designation of 2 categories of individuals who are required to report information regarding prohibited conduct that they receive. The policy spells out these reporting obligations. We've added an appeals process for employees who are found to have violated our policy. This expands appeals beyond Title IX misconduct. All appeals will be decided by an external reviewer who is a retired federal judge. We will institute a pilot program for the use of adaptable resolution for employees to resolve allegations of misconduct through a voluntary, non-disciplinary process. This alternative has been used effectively with students. We will give students the option to use a university-provided advisor earlier in the process instead of just in the investigative resolution stage. The policy also incorporates the Equity, Civil Rights, and Title IX office we created to provide support and handle investigations of misconduct. With the additional resources we devoted, the ECRT has begun hiring key positions to fulfill its broader mission. The new policy and procedures will be posted online and shared in the university record. I thank the many individuals in our community who helped us craft this important policy, especially the survivors whose painful experiences remind us always that we must continue to strive to be a better, more supportive university. Regent Acker had another comment as chair.
The new sexual misconduct policy and procedures help bring consistency across all campuses and all members of our university community. This is just one of a number of actions that we have taken in recent months to completely transform how this university approaches sexual and gender-based misconduct. These efforts include the creation of the ECRT, approving policies that prohibit the initiation of romantic relationships by supervisors with those they supervise and by instructional faculty with undergraduate students, and improving the experience for those who need to report misconduct. And our work is not done. We continue to work with consultants from Guidepost Solutions as we develop a strong protection from retaliation policy, review our ethics and compliance efforts, and embark on a cultural change journey designed to make our community a safer place for each member of the community. As I noted in July, when the president made announcements about the sweeping changes and actions, there will be many more to come in the coming months and years. For organizations to truly change, all facets of structure, policy, and culture must be addressed. We want to be a place where those who report misconduct can feel supported, believed, respected, and cared for, and where education and prevention efforts are prioritized and protection from retaliation is the standard. Accountability is the expectation for our community. Our firm resolve is that all of these actions combined will place the University of Michigan on a path to become a national leader and an example for other universities.
Thank you, Regent Acker. Our Division of Public Safety and Security is implementing recommendations from the Advancing Public Safety at the University of Michigan Task Force. These changes follow the task force's work to examine Ann Arbor campus public safety practices as one of a number of anti-racism initiatives. They include the Police Department Oversight Committee can now conduct special reviews, and its authority to engage the public was formalized. DPSS updated its cooperative policing agreement with Ann Arbor Police Department and included language accounting for harm reduction patrols in off-campus student neighborhoods. To enhance transparency, DPSS created a public-facing organizational chart, hiring webpage, and training webpage to increase awareness of its activities. DPSS has also made data publicly available on staffing and calls for service. Work to fulfill other recommendations on data transparency are in progress. This includes working with ITS to create public-facing dashboards that contain information on personnel complaints, calls for service, and enforcement data that include arrests, citations, and traffic stops. Details on this implementation are available on the DPSS website, and we'll share a link to that tomorrow in the university record email. We'll continue to work on task force recommendations and provide further reports on progress in the months ahead. Before we move on with our agenda, I congratulate U of M medical student Sam Grew, who won a Paralympics gold medal in the high jump 3 weeks ago in Tokyo. Go blue. I also want to remind everyone that next month's meeting will be in person in Flint as we resume the rhythm of annually meeting at our regional campuses. And on October 7th, I'll be giving the President's University Leadership Address, formerly known as the Leadership Breakfast. It'll be live streamed as well. It's now my pleasure to introduce today's presentation, in which we'll hear from Luke Schaefer, the director of our Poverty Solutions Initiative. We created Poverty Solutions in 2016 based on recommendations made by faculty in a report earlier that same year. I remember their ideas and conclusions well. They found that while research on poverty was being conducted in many of our departments, the scholars were often working wholly independently and unaware of each other, and not all of our work was having the impact that it deserved. Dr. Schaefer's leadership of the initiative has changed that dramatically. Poverty Solutions has engaged faculty, staff, students, and community partners in developing and testing approaches in diminishing poverty, and in the process garnering national recognition and making a genuine difference in communities. His work has been cited in the New York Times as key to motivating the expansion of the child tax credit this year that's projected to cut child poverty in the United States by 45%. Dr. Schaefer is the Herman and Amelie Cohn Professor of Social Justice and Social Policy in the Ford School, and he has additional appointments in our School of Social Work, Law School, and Institute for Social Research. He's our first Cohn Professor, thanks to a set of gifts totaling $17 million from the Cohn Charitable Trust. And he's going to speak today on the outstanding accomplishments and crucial work of poverty solutions. Welcome, Dr. Schaefer.
Thank you, President Schlissel, and thanks to the Regents and to the executive officers for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm deeply honored and deeply grateful to serve as the Director of Poverty Solutions, a university-wide initiative that seeks to partner with communities and policymakers to find new ways to prevent and alleviate poverty. We are building on decades of research. In fact, Michigan has a deep tradition of research on poverty and inequality. It was the site where Lyndon Johnson announced the war on poverty and the Great Society. We're building on that legacy to build on basic research on the causes and consequences of poverty, on understanding poverty measurement, to get out and work with communities and policymakers to find out what can be done about it. In that work, we bring a deep humility. We understand that scholars in a university community don't always have all of the answers. We don't even know all of the questions. Yet we have an important role to play. We can use data, evidence, and analysis to identify critical issues and evidence-based solutions to inform action. Our diverse team of 20 views poverty as a result of a set of interlinked systems like housing, education, criminal justice, and labor markets that fail to function as they should for families struggling to make ends meet. You might take a few minutes to think about the systems that you think might impact families with poverty. And I bet that we have a project that we've supported, either projects that our staff has worked on or projects we've supported by scholars all across the university that's trying to tackle that challenge. We recognize that many of these system failures are the results of long-term racial and socioeconomic inequalities, structural racism that become embedded in our systems and perpetuate unequal outcomes. Such a systems approach like this can be overwhelming, yet it also provides many entry points to intervene, and that fuels our work. We set our agenda collaboratively with partners, seeking opportunities for real change that empowers families to live lives that are healthy and productive. So we end up studying a lot of things that we might never have expected to when we went in, things like auto insurance. I didn't see that one coming. Home repair, tax foreclosure. We leverage the breadth and the expertise and the strengths of the University of Michigan to analyze data and conduct research. Breadth of expertise from partners in engineering and social work, in law and business. We listen, we share findings, we propose interventions, and then we evaluate and monitor, listening again to see if what we did worked and what's happening as new models take shape. So this fall marks a 5-year anniversary since we got our charge from President Schlissel. Here are some of the things that we've been able to do. We've directly generated, seed funded, or provided support that played a critical role in bringing $26.5 million in external funding to projects that live out this mission here to U of M. This has taken the form of federal grants from NSF, grants from charities, contracts from the state, and an endowed professorship. We've directly supported the publication of 100 academic journals, working papers, and policy briefs. Our work has become highly visible. Just in 2020, we were cited 787 times in national and regional media. That was up a little bit from 760 times the year before. Our research, as President Schlissel mentioned, includes been the subject of a front page story in the New York Times, a White House press release, and it's also been covered in such local newspapers as the Alpena News, in unusual outlets like Teen Vogue. I didn't see that one coming either. We started a summer youth employment program that brings youth onto campus to work all across departments, and also has done a lot of work to train the people who employ them at the university about how to work with a diverse set of young people. We've generated over 2 million social media impressions. I'm still not 100% sure what a social media impression is, but I'm told that's a really good number. We partnered on projects and events with all 19 schools and colleges, made grants to scholars in virtually every unit. We've engaged hundreds of students. Just in 2020 alone, over 250 students worked with us on research assistantships, enrolled in a class that we sponsored, or worked in a research assistantship with one of our faculty partners. We formed deep partnerships with Mayor Duggan's team on the city of Detroit on such things like a digital inclusion plan for the city and a home repair plan, and the state of Michigan, where I serve as a special counselor for the Department of Health and Human Services. And we've had 4 different members testify before Congress, including myself yesterday. So what I care most about is whether what we do has an impact on empowering families. And so that's the record that I keep track of the closest. Our report on the impacts of Michigan's highest in the nation auto insurance rates on the economic mobility, especially of folks without a lot of money, was highlighted both by Governor Whitmer and the Mackinac Center for Public Policy in the lead up to the state's auto insurance reform bill passed in 2019. And we're finishing an evaluation report to see where we are on that very issue now that we'll be releasing. So can't wait to show that to you. A bipartisan group of US senators led by Senator Lisa Murkowski and Joe Manchin highlighted one of our reports as motivation for an additional $800 million for homeless public school students during the pandemic. We've also been deeply engaged in the city of Detroit on counting homeless students, working in partnership with the district to make sure kids are getting counted so they can get the resources that they need. We partnered with the state of Michigan and the state Supreme Court to help shape a $50 million eviction prevention fund that was operated during fall of 2020. Scholars at the Taubman School did an evaluation and found that it cut evictions to a small fraction of where they were in 2019, which, by the way, is just remarkable to think that during a global pandemic, we cut evictions to just a tiny fraction of where they were. Work we did in partnership with community-based organizations and the Rocket Community Fund has been key in sharply reducing tax foreclosure in the city of Detroit. And of course, nearest and dearest to my heart, Poverty Solution has played a big role in helping to support work that has been a part of informing the expansion of the child tax credit, which is projected to cut child poverty in the United States by 45%, poverty among Black children by 50%, and Native American children by 60%. So since President Schlissel launched Poverty Solutions in 2016, we have sought to make good on the investment by the University of Michigan in this initiative. I'm so grateful that this public university would make such a commitment to using our knowledge and skills to address poverty. I believe through that commitment, we collectively, the University of Michigan, has been able to impact the lives of millions of people for the better. And I believe we're just going to continue to have an even bigger impact as we grow. Thank you.
Any questions for Professor Schaefer? Great, thanks very much, Luke. We now move on to our regular business agenda. First, the consent agenda. Minutes and reports are on the website. We'll begin our updates with Vice President Smith.
I am pleased to announce that we will restart 3 capital projects that have been placed on pause at the beginning of COVID due to financial uncertainty. The Beister Building Addition, which is a computer science and engineering and School of Information project, our new facility for the College of Pharmacy, and a replacement for the Central Campus Recreation Building. In accordance with the statement on carbon neutrality at the May Regents meeting, I'm also pleased to announce that we are planning a geothermal heating and cooling system in support of the Beister addition. And we plan to seek approval from the board later in the fall. Each of these projects will be designed for easier conversion to all electric or geothermal sources by using low to medium temperature water heating systems. Mass timber and lower carbon concrete materials are being considered to lower carbon emission generation in the production of materials. All of these projects are being designed to achieve better energy performance than standard energy code. Nothing more to report.
Thank you, Vice President Smith. We now move on to the Dearborn Campus Report. Chancellor Grasso.
I'd like to thank all of the faculty, staff, and students on the Dearborn campus for their outstanding and hard work in preparing for this semester, which is off to an incredible start. I'd like to thank them for their understanding and their compliance. The semester was kicked off with Wolverine Welcome Days, where we had first and second year students, hundreds of them on campus, and it was a terrific and joyous occasion with no adverse effects. Our students have been incredible. They are over 99% are on-campus students in compliance with our policies, either vaccinated or have exemptions. We've opened a new engineering lab building this semester, and we've made significant progress in our strategic plan. We launched a new financial aid model that places need first. We launched a new customer relationship management platform. We launched a one-stop student service portal. All this is designed to help our students be more successful on campus. We've also had great success in our federal research grants. In the first 2 months, we received 9 grants totaling over $4 million, which is more than we received in all of last year. So that's a terrific step in the right direction. And finally, a successful and generous alum stepped up and signed a planned gift for $8 million, the second largest in the history of the university. Go Blue.
Thank you, Chancellor Grasso. The Flint Campus Report from Chancellor Dutta.
Yeah, thank you, President Stachel. So this is September 23rd. It's September 23rd, 1956, when the first students took classes in the Flint Senior College. So happy 65th birthday, University of Michigan, Flint. We kicked off our fall welcome activities also in August with a new festival that we called Blue Bash. It was a campus celebration cum retention effort, and it had almost 1,000 attendees. With students and their families, they toured the campus, met faculty and staff, enjoyed food and good music. The College of Innovation and Technology is U of M Flint's newest and 6th college. It opened this fall and we welcomed 24 students in the first cohort. I'm also very pleased to report that the statewide Promise Scholars Program exceeded our target this year, and the Summer Bridge Program doubled its enrollment from last year. Number of students in the resident hall has more than doubled from last year. It's a sure sign of the confidence in our health and safety procedures on the campus. I'd like to mention that Tom Henthorn, Wyatt Endowed Professor of Public History, was named Humanities Champion of the Year by Michigan Humanities. Michigan Humanities is funded by the National Endowment for Humanities. Dr. Henthorn was chosen from a field of candidates across the state for his engaged scholarships that brings history to the public forum in inventive ways. Finally, the U of M Flint esports team, the only varsity esports team in the 3 campuses of the university. It competes in the Rocket League, and it beat Ohio State University in the opening match, 3-1. Go Blue. However, this week, they also defeated U of M Ann Arbor's club team, 3-0. Go Blue again. The match was streamed globally on Twitch, I don't know what Twitch is. However, I congratulate members Luke Remarchik, Noah Wright, and Colin Clark. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Dutta. I next call upon our student government report, CSG President Nithya Arun.
Hello, is the mic all right? Is that good? Awesome. Hello. And thank you, President Schlissel, for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all today. To start, CSG administered a survey on food insecurity via our all-campus email. We obtained over 1,600 responses. Through the survey, we found that 16.23% of respondents are affected by mild food insecurity, 20.72% of respondents are affected by mild food insecurity, and 17.68% of respondents are affected by high food insecurity. Nutritious food is not only essential to maintain academic performance, but is the most basic necessity for survival. Across all three levels of food insecurity, 54.63% of students do not have consistent access to food. Our survey also found that only 13% of students used maize and blue cupboard, though the proportion of students who are food insecure is significantly more. This suggests that there is a gap that needs to be filled. In order to fill this gap, CSG will be working to subsidize groceries. While having data gives us the leverage to introduce and implement policy, what these numbers do not convey is the lived experiences of students who are food insecure. I hope that everyone here not only empathizes with the students who currently do not have access to nutritious food, but feels motivated to contribute funding and advocate for codified policy that ameliorates food insecurity on campus. Recently, CSG's assembly passed a resolution calling for increased COVID-19 safety protocols, including twice-weekly testing for students regardless of vaccination status and masking at football games. Promoting a campus culture that encourages wearing masks in crowded spaces and a commitment to COVID safety through testing will allow students to remain healthy and ease anxiety as they navigate in-person classes and social events for the first time in over a year. I support further safety measures to ensure that every student on campus feels safe going to class, as although in-person learning is valuable to us all, we want to ensure it is done in a manner that is safe and effective. Additionally, I have been talking with the athletic department to brainstorm ways to promote mask wearing at games. Finally, I would like to take some time to acknowledge the students who are protesting outside. I stand in solidarity with survivors of sexual assault and echo Students Against Sexual Assault's calls to provide trauma-informed care to those whom the university has failed to support and urge stakeholders to take drastic measures to prevent sexual assault on campus. As always, Carla and I are happy to meet with anyone and everyone to discuss relevant campus issues and amplify student concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Nithya. Voluntary support materials are in the book. Personnel actions are in the materials, personnel reports as well, retirement memoirs, memorials and degrees are in the materials. So now I call for a vote on the consent agenda. Is there a motion? Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. The consent agenda carries. We now move on to the regular agenda, finance and property. Items number 1 and 2 are informational items. Is there anything to add, Vice President Smith?
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item number 3 is an alternative asset commitment, Vice President Smith.
Nothing to add to this item. I recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item number 4.
Nothing to add to this item. I recommend approval.
Is there a motion? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Number 4 carries. And finally, number 5, another alternative asset commitment, Vice President Smith.
Nothing to add to this item. I recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. The motion passes. Items 6 through 12 are conflict of interest items, each of which requires 6 votes for approval. The Regents have carefully reviewed all of these items and we will consider them together as a block in one vote unless any Regent requests individual consideration of or recusal from voting on a particular item. Does anyone have any questions about a particular item? Would any Regents like to request recusal from voting on any items? I now call for a vote on items 6 through 12. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. By a show of hands, may I have a vote, please? I count 6 votes here, and Regents White and Regent Brown are on the phone. Do you wish to vote?
Yep, I'm raising my hand.
Thank you. I have Regent Brown raise his hand. Is Regent White there? We must have dropped Kathy by accident. She was here a moment ago, so thank you. The conflicts agenda carries. The last 2 items can be addressed together. I call upon Chancellor Grasso for academic calendar issues for Dearborn.
I have nothing to add.
Thank you. Is there a motion on items 1 and 2 under other, the academic calendar for Dearborn? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Those motions carry as well. And I'll now turn the floor over to Vice President Churchill to moderate public comments.
Thank you, President Schlissel. Yeah, this is our public comment period, and it's nice to see everyone in person. It's really great. I'd like to remind our speakers that you have up to 3 minutes to address the board. Patrick, I'll call your name and then you can go to the microphone there and address the board. Topics do often require study and analysis, so the president and regents will not necessarily respond to comments at today's meeting. Our first speaker today is Jeffrey Deskamp. Thank you.
May I lower my mask while I speak?
Well.
Yes, that's fine, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was
It'll
gonna
go
say,
right
don't
back up.
just, yeah, don't answer.
Well, I'd like to thank the Board of Regents for allowing my fellow survivors and myself the opportunity to speak in person today. In May of 1973, I was abused at the hands of Dr. Robert E. Anderson, then director of U of M Student Health Services. I was not a student, but a young 22-year-old wannabe commercial airline pilot that was told to see Dr. Anderson at the behest of my employer at the time. I passed the company physical with flying colors, but after Dr. Anderson took sexual advantage of me, I was told by him to return to his office for several visits before he would issue an FAA third-class medical certificate to me, which at the time and still is today serves as a student pilot license. For obvious reasons, the reason why we're gathered here today, I never returned to his office. At the time of my exam, I trusted him. Even though I was violated, I didn't understand the depravity of what he was doing. This sadistic exam, all under the guise of a full medical examination, robbed me of my dignity and my desired career. He stole that from me, knowing full well that his exploitation of young men and women would continue unabated by a system that protected and supported Dr. Anderson for decades, regardless of administrative staff changes later on. On that sunny and warm May afternoon when I first arrived at Dr. Anderson's clinic on Fletcher Street, I felt confident that this physical examination by a U of M staff doctor, who was also an aviation medical examiner, would be brief, professional, and reaffirming because I was in excellent health. As a 22-year-old, I was excited to meet Dr. Anderson because I saw all the trappings of this great university with its innumerable accomplishments and worldwide respect. I expected nothing less than a positive outcome. Instead, I was savaged by this man's insatiable desire to do as he pleased, while tears from my eyes streaked down my face from the pain he inflicted upon me. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't believe any human being could do what he was doing to me. When I left his office, I was humiliated, lifeless, and traumatized. I was too embarrassed to discuss this with anyone, including my parents. In happier times prior to visiting Dr. Anderson's office, coming to this campus really meant something special to me. Going to the Hill Auditorium to experience my first concert in my early teen years left a wonderful impression. Today, I still board the Amtrak train to come visit my friends in Ann Arbor and to attend concerts at the Hill. But Fletcher Street is too close, metaphorically speaking. I attempt to push those ruminations aside every day, but they never go away. Dr. Anderson knew I was a non-student. He knew that I was not given a choice of doctors. He knew he could do things to me that might have given him pause if I was a student or athlete. Do you think the abuse was any less because I was a non-student? I think you know the answer now. Your repeated saying, as Mr. Christian had said, "We're deeply sorry for what happened to you," has become the mantra for U of M. This is especially offensive to me. I didn't do anything wrong. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Mikola.
Good afternoon. My name is David Mikola, and I'm a current junior studying political science and international studies at the University of Michigan. I'm currently the president of the Building a Better Michigan organization on campus as well, a student organization that advises on and advocates for the renovations and restructuring of student life and recreational sports facilities. This semester, our organization's primary focus is the resuming of the Central Campus Recreation Building's demolition and reconstruction project. And if I'm being truthful with you all today, I came to today's meeting with two drafted speeches. Speech A advises the administration and Regents to vote to resume the CCRB project as soon as possible. Speech A was drafted weeks in advance with ample evidence cited throughout. Speech A was proofread by half a dozen board members of our organization, scouring over every verb, noun, and adjective, just to make sure we get our points across as effectively as possible. This is Speech B, written on the off chance that the administration and Regents agreed to resume the CCRB project prior to my speaking, as you all did today. Let me be the first to say, thank you for making me read Speech B. And more generally, thank you for your decision. Your vote to continue the previously suspended CCRB project will change the lives of thousands of students for years to come. At our last count, as you mentioned, approximately 49,000 students are back in Ann Arbor. And with that standard enrollment number, tuition revenue is expected to return to pre-pandemic levels. Our recreational sports facilities are seeing upwards of 4,500 students a day, illustrating an obvious demand for exercise from the student population. Students are here, and students have paid for this renovation through the recreation fee. And with the crowded CCRB on the daily, it's evident that expansion and accommodation is long overdue. With the combination of a full campus, more than packed recreational sports facilities, and overdue reconstruction with students searching for progress, it's time to get the CCRB project back up and running. And I'm so glad that you feel the same. Our organization, Building a Better Michigan, would be happy to host a tour of the current CCRB facility for any Regents or administration officials interested, just to convey the pressing nature of this matter. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you all today, and thank you for your step in the right direction.
Thank you, David. Our next speaker is Larry Jung.
Thank you, Regents, for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm a professor of neurology in the medical school, and I'm here today to advocate much faster actions moving U of M toward carbon neutrality. I wish to thank President Schlissel for, just shy of 3 years ago, setting the goal of carbon neutrality and announcing formation of the Presidential Commission. Also this year for approving that commission's very strong plan. I also thank you, President Schlissel, for recruiting as CFO, Mr. Jeffrey Chattis, who appears very well qualified to assume financial leadership related to that plan. Also, thank you for your very strong message 2 weeks ago about the urgency of climate change. In addition, I wish to thank the Regents for supporting U of M's carbon neutrality plan. I'm with a group of faculty, alums, and community members called Voices for Carbon Neutrality. Our mission is to push U of M in a constructive manner on a much faster path toward carbon neutrality. The university's product of the last 3 years related to carbon neutrality is mostly words, 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 not actions. Universities, I urge everyone to look at the new report of the International Panel on Climate Change to appreciate the urgency of the threat to our world and its people. Climate change is without doubt the biggest challenge of the century, much bigger than COVID-19. With the West burning and the hurricanes churning, Americans are finally becoming alert to the threat of climate change. Why, I ask, has the university not made more progress on some very obvious actions? Drilling the geo-exchange boreholes, moving new buildings toward net zero carbon emissions, electrifying the fleet, divesting more rapidly from fossil fuel companies, and initiating the revolving energy fund. I urge President Schlissel and other leaders to greatly accelerate the pace of such actions, perhaps by an order of magnitude. It is the mission of this university to educate and employ the leaders and best. Leadership on carbon neutrality must be about actions now. The university should be not only solving its own carbon pollution problem, it should seize the opportunity to demonstrate leadership that can serve as a model for other institutions and even municipalities. Leading on climate change will help U of M to recruit the best faculty and students, also possibly to help engage donors. These persons will want to connect with a great university that leads on the biggest problem facing our world. Thank you for hearing my comments today.
Thank you. Gary Weidmer.
Thank you, Board of Regents. I understand I have 3 minutes. So why are we here? And the second question is, why am I here? The answer to my first question is outlined in Michigan's Constitution of 1963, which gives general supervision of the institution to the regents. Simply, this current Board of Regents owns the future of this great institution, and your decisions on how you supervise as a board will be written in the history books for all to see. The previous regents, your predecessors, owned the past, and it is in this history, past decisions, past characters, past enablers, and the such that bring us full circle on our meeting here today. The answer to my second question is, I am a survivor of Dr. Anderson, Robert Anderson. The many, many years tucked away in my memory bank relating to my FAA medical encounter with Dr. Anderson. Finally, the definition survivor, after I read the Widmer-Hale report of May 11th, 2021. Looking over the years, I had defined Dr. Anderson as not such a wonderful person. But at the time, late 70s, early 80s, he was a god in the Ann Arbor U of M circle and the FAA senior AMU world too. We need to ask ourselves what happened. The Widmer-Hale report has shown how ugly the truth can be. This could have all been avoided. The destruction of so many survivors could have been avoided and should have been avoided. Many important people made ignorant decisions that make no sense to us survivors. Were the decisions for personal gain? History was written. Clearly to me, your predecessors helped write the history that will mar this institution's credibility for years to come. They're gone now, but the remnants of what they left behind by their extremely poor general supervision remains with all of us survivors. Why did university regents act so egregiously dangerous with the lives that didn't have to suffer at the hands of Dr. Anderson? Literally. History will evaluate the outcome of this tragedy. I ask the Board of Regents to work toward a resolve and don't diminish the ugliness of our stories. I leave you with this. I'm sure you've all heard it. It is not the critic that counts. It is not the man that points out how the strong man stumbled. Credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and blood and sweat, and who strives valiantly, whose errors come short again and again. who at best knows the meaning of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. That was Teddy Roosevelt, 1910. We survivors are in the arena. Our stories are real. I believe a vast majority of people despise the names Jeffrey Epstein, Larry Nasser, Jerry Sandusky, to mention a few.
Your time is up, so if you can wrap up.
Tragically, Dr. Anderson has left behind a full arena. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. David Scher.
My name is David Scher, and I'm a U of M alumnus with BA, MD, and MPH degrees from U of M. As a freshman, I was victimized by Robert Anderson at the health service. I'm one of the hundreds abused by him. Anderson was aided and abetted by leaders at U of M early on, and for the decades, the abuse continued. Current leadership shares culpability in the present for this legacy. It is not enough to say, as you have, that you are sorry for what Anderson did to us many years ago. That suggests the university doesn't share blame, or that the passage of time erases responsibility. The passive voice reflects a failure to be accountable. I urge you on behalf of U of M to own the grievous wrongs committed in the past and to take accountability for them in the present, so that we survivors can finally find some degree of closure. Your failure to be accountable continues the legacy of failure to protect the university community and to be responsible for the actions of university leaders. The rote recitation of the official public statement by various officers and spokespersons is the equivalent of a whisper. Meanwhile, U of M's high-profile football coach loudly and aggressively attacks the victims' integrity and their experiences. They showed courage in telling their truth. Denying victims' truth is shameful and does further harm. There's a pattern here. Powerful academic institutions and those who lead them care more about protecting the institution, its reputation, and its power than about the people the institution is purposed to serve and has a duty to protect. The harm lasted for decades, during which university officials abetted and protected the abuser and covered up the abuse. The wounds still fester in the present. It is now time for the U of M to align its public words with meaningful actions. You will forfeit U of M's right to the claim of being leaders and best if you sidestep accountability for the harm caused by misdeeds and mistakes of University of Michigan leaders. For once and for all, you need to redress these wrongs. I urge you to do so.
Vincent Washington.
Hello, Regents. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Vincent Washington. I'm a proud husband and father of 5 kids. I attended the University of Michigan and played football in 1985 through 1988. Being a Michigan man is one of the greatest honors of my life. However, that honor feels hollow and depressing now. Unfortunately, I too, like many others, have suffered from sexual abuse and unnecessary medical examinations at the hands of Dr. Robert Anderson. For many years, I didn't fully understand what happened to me. I compartmentalized the abuse and just considered Dr. Anderson as someone who had gotten over on me, or this was just a price to pay for the opportunity to play for Michigan and to play for Bo Schembechler. I don't believe the range of abuse by Dr. Anderson is in question, nor do I think it was a secret to the authorities at the time. These were people who were supposed to watch over us. The question I always ask myself, why didn't I put it together or object or say something sooner? Coach Bo would always say that the enemy of learning was distraction, the enemy of winning was being a distraction. So subconsciously, I knew that if I became a distraction, that my career at Michigan would be over. I carry a lot of guilt for this. Reliving these events and following the news and reading the reports is actually more harmful than the time itself. Like many unresolved issues in your past, it eats at you, it hijacks the good memories you have of Michigan. I wonder how many other Michigan men go through this. Coach Bo taught me many fundamental lessons in my life. When you make a mistake, admit it. You make it right. When you come to Michigan, it's not a 4-year commitment. It's a lifelong belonging and a bond to a family and to be a part of something bigger than yourself. I love Michigan. I love the team. I love the school. I love the tradition. The last time I saw Coach Bo was at our 125th reunion of Michigan men. AD Ward Manuel, my teammate, was there. Coach Harbaugh, my teammate, was there. Desmond Howard, among many others. And it was great to see mentors like Coach Lloyd Carr. When I walked up to Coach Bo, I was really nervous. He looked me in the eyes and gave me a hug, and he said, "Vincent Washington, how are you doing? How's your family? Are you still in Atlanta?" Tears came to my eyes, and I gave him the update. Bo actually remembered me, so maybe somehow I had marked his memory the way he had marked mine. Regents, please settle this matter with the survivors quickly. We need you to be the leaders and best. We need you to settle this with the survivors so it doesn't drag on, and allow us to cling to the Michigan memories that makes this the greatest university in the world. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dean Turner.
Regents, thank you. That was very touching. I certainly didn't want to be here today sharing my story with you. But sometimes you never know where inspiration is going to come from. And last week, 4 brave survivors, Larry Nassar, testified before the Senate Judiciary on the failures of the Nassar investigation, and there was sure plenty. Somewhat inspired by those 4 brave women, I stand before you today to talk to you about the failures of the University of Michigan and U of M's failure to investigate Dr. Anderson and stop decades of rape. And yes, it's rape. I've got a definition I'd like to read. The Department of Justice defines rape as the penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, or oral penetration by a sex organ of another without the consent of the victim. Well, that should give you a pretty clear picture. My name's Dean Turner. I was a member of the Michigan hockey team in 1976, 77. As a young, vulnerable freshman student athlete. I was asked to see Dr. Anderson a number of occasions, and of course I obeyed. And by definition, I was raped by Dr. Anderson. I, along with thousands of survivors, were raped by Dr. Anderson. What he did was not medical treatment and had gone astray. It was rape. University of Michigan employed and protected Dr. Anderson for numerous decades. University of Michigan protected a rapist. The Whitmer-Hale report states a number of university personnel were aware from the early days of concerns about Dr. Anderson's conduct with patients. He even had nicknames that were well known. In addition, there were other indications, including those other widespread rumors about Dr. Anderson, that could have led to discovery of his misconduct Had they been understood or pursued, university could have put an end to this and protected student athletes, such as myself, but instead they protected a rapist and a brand. Rape survivors are forced to deal with the traumas of rape, humiliation, fear, anxiety, depression, anger, destructive behavior, and sometimes suicidal thoughts. I have and will continue to suffer the traumas of this rape. As you know, healing doesn't follow a timeline, and neither should we. A week from today, next Thursday, September 30th, the Michigan legislature is holding a hearing on two bills that protect survivors of Dr. Anderson. Regent Weiser, as a fellow Michigan man, survivor of sexual abuse by Dr. Anderson, chair of the Michigan Republican Party. On behalf of the thousands, hundreds raped by Dr. Anderson, we prayed.
We are
request-
well past the 3 minutes, and everybody's given 3 minutes.
Okay,
Ask
well,
you to please wrap it up.
okay, to use your talents and influence and support. Regents, you were elected based on your morals, principles, and beliefs. You have pledged to uphold the values of Michigan, men and women. I ask you now to stand firm alongside the thousands of Anderson survivors and support the legislation that you know is righteous, proper, promote justice. Time is always right to do the right thing. Time is now.
That's it.
I know that every single one of my colleagues would like to respond further individually to the survivors who spoke today. But out of the respect for the court and the orders governing the confidential mediation process, we are limited in what we can say. What I will say on behalf of my colleagues on the board is that we are committed to becoming a campus that is free of sexual violence, abuse, and harassment. As you heard the president outline at the beginning of this meeting, we have put more measures in place today that will help us continue along that path. And we are continuing to make changes along our journey to make sure that nothing like this ever happens on our campus again. To all of you who are speaking out, we hear you, we value you. Thank you again for sharing your stories.
Thank you, Regent Ecker. Thanks to all of those that spoke to the board today. The meeting is adjourned.